Hey, it's the announcement guide. I want to let you know that we're accepting applications now for our Board of Trustees. You can go to our website and get an application through May 31st. It's a great way to serve the church, to meet some new folks, and to be a part of us moving forward. Thanks.
On Memorial Day, Sunday, May 30th, we'll honor those who have passed in the last year with a special remembrance. If you'd like to honor a loved one, visit our prayer and care page and fill out the form by May 24th. Visit milehighchurch.org for event details. Join us for an hour of renewal and rejuvenation paired with peaceful sound meditation using alchemy crystal bowls at our upcoming Sacred Sound Healing Workshop on Saturday, June 19th with Reverend Zamira. Learn the basics of sound healing principles and how to use sound in your own spiritual practices at home. Visit milehighchurch.org for event details.
Okay, remember you've got till May 31st to get an application in for our Board of Trustees. A great way to serve the church. We're looking for you. Have a great week.
And smile, 'cause it's been a while. It's been like a whole day since I stopped so you could hold me. This child awaits, strong in my faith. Lord, you are the refuge that I can't wait to get to, 'cause I can't let a day go, can't let a day go by without thanking you for the joy that you bring to my life. And something about the way shines on my face. It's a love so true, I can never get enough of you. This feeling can't be wrong. I'm about to get my worship on. Take me away. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When trouble seems to rain on my dreams, it's not a big deal. Let it wash all the bugs off the wind, because you're showing me in you I'm free, and you're still the refuge that I just got to get to, 'cause I can't let a day go, can't let a day go by. So put the drop top down, turn it up, I'm ready to fly. And something about the way your sun shines on my face. It's a love so true, I can never get enough of you. This feeling can't be wrong. I'm about to get my worship on. Take me away. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got no need to worry. I got no room for doubt. No matter what's coming at me, you'll always be the beautiful I sing about. There ain't no limitations to your amazing grace, your amazing grace. And there's something about the way your love shines on my face. Oh no, I can never get enough of you. This feeling can't be wrong. I'm about to get my worship on. I'm gonna sing a brand new song. Yeah, I'm about to get my worship on. Take me away. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Such a beautiful day.
Oh, yes, it is a beautiful day because you're here and Jennifer Burnett's here. Isn't that make it a beautiful day? Yes. And our special guest, Carlos Chavez, is here too, making it beautiful. Yeah. Very exciting. Welcome. Welcome to Mile High Church. Wow, it's good to see you all. Some of your faces I haven't seen for a really long time, and I'm happy to see them. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. One of the things that I have loved best in my experience of Mile High Church and this teaching is that when people come into our community, often they feel very inspired to continue to work on themselves. And to me, what that means is that they become willing to deepen their relationship with the divine, to begin to change their thinking and change their life and transform their living experience. And I've seen throughout the years many people do that through their willingness to be teachable and to grow and to pray and to be about their spiritual practice and really, really live this life in a disciplined and profoundly transformational way. And Friday night, we had a graduation here where we celebrated a whole bunch of those people, right? It was amazing. We just graduated 23 new practitioners out of practitioner training. Isn't that great? And we graduated 6 ministerial students from our ministerial school. So isn't that wonderful? And I'd love to acknowledge them. If you're a practitioner who's graduated from that class or one of our ministerial graduates, please stand. We acknowledge and celebrate you. Congratulations. So grateful for you. We had all sorts of people here Friday night to celebrate, and there's some beloveds here today who are very special to me. The ministers from New Vision Center for Spiritual Living in Phoenix, Arizona, which was my former center, are here today. Reverend Karen Lewis and Reverend Leslie Goodwin are here. Karen's right here. I think Leslie's back there. Welcome. So grateful to have you here today. So grateful. And one of the ministerial graduates is the almost Reverend Jeff Hargis, who's about to step in. So it's been a very special weekend for me personally and for all of us, and I'm really grateful for that. I also want to say to you all a big thank you before we continue on with our service. I forgot to mention last week that on May 9th, I asked for your support to help me have my book go to #1 on Amazon. And between your support and the support of the community at large, I can say that we went #1 in 6 categories in US, Canada, and Australia. Yes. Isn't that great? So thank you. Thank you so much. My favorite category that we went #1 in was immunology. You know, SEO, who knows? It's a good thing. I'm very grateful, and I'm grateful for all of your love and support. That's what spiritual community is about. We get to support and uplift each other in profound ways. So let's do that now as we take some time to step into spiritual practice together. We'll lift each other up in prayer. We're going to sing together. We're going to have a few moments of sacred silence, and then Reverend Dr. Barry is going to lead us in a beautiful prayer. Let's begin.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. And in this sacred moment, we fall into our hearts and open to the presence of the living Spirit right here, right now. I give such thanks for this opportunity for us to gather, whether in person or online. To bring our hearts and our heartbeats into alignment with each other. And acknowledge that we are indeed all one, part of the one soul, the one heart, the one life. I give thanks this morning for our beautiful campus that is springing into life right now. I give thanks for our labyrinth outside and for all the hands and hearts that gathered here yesterday to construct it. A place for us to pray, to walk, to center ourselves. And another reason to come to this beautiful campus. And I know in this glorious time of spring, when we see life bursting out, that the conditions are perfect for growth right now all around us. And I affirm and know that the conditions for growth are perfect within us, each of us, right now. All we need is alive in us. I affirm that the divine circuits are open and we are connected to the one life. We send our prayers to seekers of truth all over this planet, however they may gather, however they may pray or worship. I know that we all seek the same thing, a closer relationship with the divine mystery. So I give thanks for this beautiful beacon, Mile High Church, for Dr. Michelle and her message this morning. It celebrates and acknowledges this abundant universe in which we live. And I give thanks for the blessings that continue to rain on us in ways that we could never imagine. And so it is. Amen.
I love you whether or not you love me. I love you even if you think that I don't. Sometimes I find you doubt my love for you, but I don't mind. Why should I mind? What is love anyway? Does anybody love anybody anyway? What is love anyway? Does anybody love anybody anyway? Can anybody love someone so much that they can never fear, never worry, never be sad? The answer is they cannot love this much. Nobody can. That is why I don't mind you doubting. What is love anyway? Does anybody love anybody anyway? What is love anyway? Does anybody love anybody anyway? Oh, whoa. And maybe love is letting people be just what they want to be. The door always must be left unlocked. To love when circumstances lead someone away from you, and not to spend your time just doubting. What is love anyway? Does anybody love anybody anyway? What is love anyway? Does anybody love anybody anyway? Oh, whoa.
Our words of inspiration today come from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. As I accept the action of love in my life, I bestow the essence of love upon everything. This love is a healing power, touching everything into wholeness, healing the wounds of experience with its balm. With enthusiasm and joy, I embody love in my thoughts and acts. And the perfect action of the law makes love manifest in my experience. Everything is beautiful and meaningful as I accept and express love in every way. And from Marianne Williamson, our self-perception determines our behavior. If we think we're small, limited, inadequate creatures, then we tend to behave that way. If we think we are magnificent creatures with infinite abundance of love and power to give, then we tend to behave in that way. Once again, the energy around us reflects our state of awareness.
I have sailed a boat or two out on the wild blue, yonder to dreams that rarely come true. And as far as I can see, from this island of green, I can put my trust in just one thing. Only love sails straight from the harbor, and only love will lead us to the other shore. And out of all the flags I've flown, one flies high and stands alone. Only love. Peaceful waters, raging sea, it's all the same to me. I can close my eyes and still be free. When the waves come crashing down and thunder rolls around, I can feel my feet on solid ground. And only love sails straight from the harbor, and only love will lead us to the other shore. And out of all the flags I've flown, one flies high and stands And only love sails straight from the harbor. And only love will lead us to the other shore. Out of all the flags that float, one flies high and stands alone. Only love. Only love. Only love.
Jennifer Burnett and our Mile High Band. Today we have Kent and Rob and Josh and Bijou and Carlos. Thank you very much, you guys. Wonderful job. Wonderful job. I have so enjoyed this series that we are completing today on the abundant universe. And before I jump into that, I just want to put one more plug in to those of you in the room and those of you watching online to consider if it's your time to be of service on our board of trustees. We have been blessed by this very loving group of people who support the leadership of our community profoundly. And so if you've become a member of our community, if you've taken the Beyond Limits class or the equivalent of that, and it's your turn, you feel called to step up into leadership, please go to our website and look at the requirements and fill out the form, and we'd love to consider you for our board. We are very blessed as a community. And a huge part of our leadership supported us in this Adventure and Prosperity series, leadership on our staff and one of our ministerial graduates, and it's been a wonderful experience. We came up with this theme called the Abundant Universe, an opportunity for us as a community to anchor ourselves in the true nature of life, which is abundance. Now I know that it can seem at times as though there's lack going on, there's not enough. But we believe that our teaching at its very core calls us to living a life on a daily basis that reminds us of the true nature of the abundance that's flowing through us. That we can live a life where our very attitude towards everything is that I can do it, there'll be enough, there is enough. I live in this abundant universe, and I may not know exactly how the good that I'm seeking shall flow to me, but I'm going to align myself with it right now proactively, versus that place that we can get into where we can fall into a pattern of fear that there won't be enough, or even talking about with other people that there's not enough, and becoming and feeling like a victim of our perceived not enoughness in the world. But that our teaching and the God that we believe in already has provided all that is necessary for us to thrive. And what we have to do is become aligned with it versus getting out of alignment with it. And when we get out of alignment with it, that's when we begin to tell ourselves these horrible stories of lack. So we have talked about the nature of abundance. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, talked about abundance in a very prolific manner. At the same time, he cautioned us to be aware that our teaching is not or meant to be a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not meant to be I just think a happy thought today and all my abundance shall flow tomorrow. Most of us have to have a perceived practice of reattuning ourselves every day. Just like the TV, when you want to watch whatever TV you want to watch, channel you want to watch on TV, you've got to take the clicker and put it on that channel. Or else you don't get to sit around and say, why isn't it on the channel I want it to be on? I'm so frustrated. You've got to do something about it, right? And so that's our lives in a nutshell. Okay, I'm out. Bye. No, I'm just kidding. No, I have a lot more to say. Never mind. So, Ernest Holmes says to us, the best way to arrive at the high consciousness is to have a great faith in the willingness and the ability of Spirit to do all for us by working through us. That's my favorite part about this teaching. It does its great work for us by doing it through us. We provide the vessel, we provide the container through which this life can flow, and therefore we are accountable for creating the container of mind, the container of heart, the container of expansiveness that we choose to live from. And so he goes on to say, we must believe in the inherent goodness and all powerfulness of the Spirit. We must let every path lead us back to the point where we realize the inner presence of the great reality, which he spells with a capital R. There, through the door of our own thought, we enter into the universal consciousness, into a complete realization of life and truth, of love and beauty. So in our series, we've been talking about 4 building blocks. That's 8, so this is 4 building blocks. We started out with gratitude in our first week. And these building blocks, we're suggesting are building blocks that when we get them, they provide a firm foundation for us to live in alignment with the truth of the abundant universe. So the more grateful we are, building block. Established firmly. You could also see these as doorways. In that first week, I suggested that gratitude is a doorway we can walk through every day to experience abundance, and we could also call these building blocks doorways that we walk through. So the doorway of gratitude on an ongoing basis. Then we talked about the doorway of courage, having the courage to take risks, to reach beyond our perceived sense of limitations and reaching beyond our fear to create a greater life. And then last week, Reverend Josh and I talked about the building block of generosity, that we must find ways to be generous of spirit and givingness, to allow that givingness to flow. And as you might have guessed already, if you haven't seen the announcements of today's theme, and it's not even Valentine's Day, and we get to talk about love. We get to talk about that great, great truth of the universe, love. So today is really abundant love, embracing life to have more of it. We put those two things together because the truth is that when people learn to love life, they embrace it fully. Not just the things they like, not even just the people they like, they embrace it all. A person who loves life understands that life comes with all of it. Good days, bad days, happy moments, sad moments, life, that which appears to be death. It comes with the change and transition of the seasons of life. And to embrace it all and love it all makes one an expansive, big presence. To be in resistance of it is like resisting the changing of the seasons. You can do it. It's not a lot of fun, but it's going to happen anyway. And by resisting it, we become smaller and we live a smaller life. And we aren't expansive and we aren't fully alive. And I will say that this law that seeks expression through us, the law of attraction, then only can magnetize to it the degree of our smallness because of what we said a few minutes ago, that it can only do for us what it can do through us. So the more that we can be fully present to the all of it, the more we learn to love the all of it, the more we create and live an abundant life. This is what we're being called to do. And it's through this beautiful foundation of love, seeking to love everything and everyone. It's a big call. I know it. I get it. But it is who we are. And we can do that. And I know that's who we are because there's so much in the world about children and their powerful capacity just to love. I used to love reading those books about love through the eyes of children. And recently I saw a clipping from that paper that used to be, that is no more, but that I really loved, the Rocky Mountain News, that was a local Denver paper here. And they used to have some really great things in them. And they had this article about children here talking about love. And it was local children, so it was many years ago. So this first one, I suspect, little Barry Ebert probably sent in. Because it says, love is the most important thing in the world, but baseball is pretty good too. Berry, right? It's got berry all over it. And then the next one is great. They said, love is the most important thing in the love is like an avalanche where you have to run for your life. And I like that too. And then this one is great. I'm not rushing into being in love. I'm finding fourth grade hard enough. Kids get it, right? They get that love is important and life is important, and that we've got to love and be fully in life. And that's what we're here to talk about today. And in some respects, this past year, with all of us having to give up so much in life to stay safer and keep each other safe, might be giving us a greater appreciation. We've had to withdraw from things we love to do, places we love to go. We've had to withdraw from being close, up front, and personal with people we love, our kids, our grandkids, our friends, our church buddies, our communities, our theater and movies and restaurants and all of that. And as we emerge back into what we might call a more normal experience of living, I hope that we will use this time. I encourage us to use this time. And I hear so many of us using this time to recognize that we've got to stop taking advantage of each other, taking each other for granted. It's time. I love what Matt Kahn said. He said, it's like humanity's been sent to our rooms. And now as we're emerging from being in our rooms so very long, my question today, my urging today is, as we re-emerge back into life, can we consider doing so with more love in our hearts, with more appreciation, with more willingness to embrace each other and life fully with great joy? That is the invitation, and that is true wealth. Wealth is appreciating and loving life. And the more we do that, the more we are attractive to the good that is flowing freely and effortlessly. Love is like yeast unto our experience, unto our lives. And when we court it, when we choose it, when we own it, when we claim it, we then find our entire life rising and rising and rising. Around here, we call Jesus the great master teacher. Yeshua, the great master teacher. And we call him that for a lot of reasons. But he had a lot to say to people about love as he wandered through the desert and spoke with people in cities and towns and out and about. And one of the main things that I love about the teachings of Jesus is that he claimed and owned that he was bringing a new covenant to humanity. And that covenant, that new covenant, you know what it was? It was love. It was the love that God is. It was the call to humanity to wake up and set aside some of the old thinking, the old ideas that were in the Old Testament, literally, of this angry God who was not so happy with humanity, and instead begin to choose to embrace a new evolutionary step, that God was actually love, and that God loved all, and that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's not some far-off place, and that kingdom is available to the degree that we love. He urged people to love their enemies. An enemy is someone that we may have perceived we are separate from through our sense of hurt or betrayal or criticism of them. And he urged us all to love our enemy. Certainly, we can have boundaries with what we would perceive as our enemies. We may not choose to be up close and personal and best friends with every person on the planet for whatever degree, for whatever purpose, but we always can have loving boundaries and choose to love and live our life in the way that Yeshua talked about. When the disciples asked him what the greatest of commandments were, the author Matthew claims in his gospel in chapter 22, verses 37 to 40, that Jesus said, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might and with all your mind. This is the greatest and first commandment. And the second is like to it, love your neighbor as yourself." Yeshua had a lot to say about love. And it has withstood the test of time because I think it's the deep truth that is calling to each one of us. That deep truth is always embrace more of life by loving more of life. How much more can I love? How many more beings can I love today? How much more of this beautiful experience of life that I have stepped into, whether it's by choice or by accident, how much more of it can I love and embrace and lift up? And in doing so, I experience the greatest abundance there is, the fullness of life that is in alignment with the divine. So how do we begin to do that? We have to learn to choose to simply love life. And one of the greatest ways we do that is by speaking lovingly, thinking lovingly, acting lovingly, living in love and as love, encountering that divine love that is the truth in our soul. Every great faith tradition, every philosopher, every great thinker and teacher on this planet would look at any group of people they were in front of and would likely say, if they are in alignment with the highest ideas possible, God is love. And to experience that love is to experience the divine. To live it out is to live from and as the divine. And the more of us that do that, the greater love shall burst forth on this planet. And the things that you and I claim that we want so much and we want so fiercely, peace amongst each other, support amongst each other, the things that we want to see be birthed on this planet are birthed to the degree that each one of us becomes the living embodiment of that kind of love. The love that loves our life and loves life in general. And so we have the most powerful choice before us. Do we experience love by continuing to act out in our thoughts and in our words and our deeds judgment and criticism and blame and separation from each other? No matter how right we think we are about living life, I suggest today we gain absolutely nothing. Whether we're venting or putting stuff on social media or talking trash about people, we gain nothing from that except that contraction of being as small as we possibly can be. We only feel that great expansiveness to the degree that we can look even at a person that we don't agree with and find a way to be in love. There's a wonderful author named Stan Dale who says, everything we do is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's true of us. But part of how we live love out is we begin to remember that's true of every other human on this planet. And as we look out and we see people doing what we might call unskilled behavior, we can remember everything they're doing is either an act of love or a cry for love. And I am going to be a human being who lives my life in the highest way possible, and I'm going to give them love, even if it's from afar, even if it's invisible, even if they'll never know it or never see it. I'm going to send love. So that's how I learn to love life. I live life in general from that place of love when I choose to do that. I know for me, many times, I'll just be sitting around minding my own business. And there'll be this moment that comes where love just has its way with me. I bet that happens to many of us. Where suddenly I'm just filled with this sense of the beauty of life, of how amazing it all is, of what a miracle it is that we get to be here on this planet at this time to love one another. We're not here to make each other wrong, to knock each other down, to criticize and fix each other. We're here to love each other. And when that moment comes where we can feel that, it's like a wave that comes over me and calls me into my greatest beingness that I know is deep down inside of me. Sometimes it's generated by looking out at life and just innocently looking at something that I might see all the time, like a sunset. And thinking, oh my gosh, seeing the face of someone that I love and just seeing the beauty of them. Seeing human kindness acting itself out in front of me and feeling so privileged and honored to witness love in that moment. Sometimes just sitting up in that chair looking out at you all and feeling it before the service starts and thinking, here we go. Look at these beloveds. And I know that that feeling has its way through me because I choose, as I suspect most of you do, to court that presence every chance I get, to be reminded of the beauty of life by witnessing it. And so one of the tools that we can use is to every day call ourselves back to it consciously, especially when life gets tough, when it gets hard, to go look at a sunset, to go find the face of a beloved, to go listen to some beautiful music that uplifts, and to remind ourselves, even in the face of a challenging moment, that love is right here where I am and lifts me up and leads me on. And therefore, everything I am and everything I do is love. To learn to love your life just as it is. The great teacher Mary Morrissey talks a lot about how we're always in co-creation with the divine. And the question really becomes, are we co-creating from default or by design? A person who designs their life from the standpoint of love is co-creating from the core of who they really are. And that's what we're called to do. Obstacles may appear, challenges may appear, but we can greet them with love. And I love what Mother Teresa says about this. She says, I'm not sure exactly what heaven will be like, but I know that when we die and it comes time for God to judge us, God will not ask, how many good things have you done in your life? Rather, God will ask, how much love did you put into what you did? How much love did you put into what you did? Whether it was some great dream or some great challenge, how much love did we put into it? And the more we put into it, the more we can grow and expand. There's this great movie that I love with Nicolas Cage and Meg Ryan, and it's about Nicolas Cage being an angel. And there's all these other angels. Then the movie depicts life like these angels are floating all around all the time. And Nicolas Cage's character often goes to someone who's transitioning off of this plane into the next plane of experience. And he takes their hand and he walks with them and he says, so what did you love about being alive? And he gets various answers. And in one particular scene in the beginning of the movie, he's at the bedside of a little girl who's just passed. And he's walking her on to her next life experience. And when he asks her what she loved best, she says, pajamas. I thought that's probably what a lot of us would say right now after the pandemic, right? Loose pants and pajamas, love them best. But if I were to ask all of us right now, what are some of the things we love best about life? How long would it take for you to get to, I loved being me? I love being me. Getting there, and Jeanette says, good, I love hearing that. Because truly, a lot of what I see and experience in my life is what Jennifer sang in that song earlier, and what I love how Byron Katie talks, that the truth is, as we look out into the world and we see other people, we don't really ever know another person, truly, right? All we know is what we've projected onto that other person. And where is the source of our projections? Right here. We are the source of our projections. And so we look out into the world and we judge, or we make right, or we make wrong, or we say yes, or we say no, we have our opinion, blah, 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 blah. But what we get to realize is every single one of our opinions about other people is a reflection of us. And the degree to which our opinions are negative and judgmental and resentful, that's the degree to which We have toxic thinking going on inside of us. And I would say and suggest today the degree to which we don't love ourselves, that we are not loving and accepting ourselves. And when we begin to open up to a willingness to love and accept ourselves more, this magic thing begins to happen often where we find our ability to love and accept each other people more, expands incrementally. So sometimes that looks like, for me, I've said this before, every night before I fall asleep, have I left anyone out of my heart today? Have I practiced separation by believing that someone in my life doesn't deserve my love today? And when we choose to become more unconditionally loving, while having boundaries, but unconditionally loving, we become like the divine. We live out the divine, because here's what I know. For God so loved this universe that it chose and said yes to you and I existing and living and expressing ourselves as the unique being that we are. God, the living presence, has never once doubted its brilliance in letting you or I come into being. We've never made a mistake that can't be embraced by God. We've never been unskilled in such a way that we can't be embraced by God. We persist in believing that that might be the truth, but it's not. It's simply not. And the degree to which we accept that about ourselves and accept that about all other beings, to that degree, then we experience the kingdom of heaven here on earth. Right here, right now, in that moment that we allow love to have its way through us. Rumi, the great poet, says to us, "Let yourself be drawn by the strange pull of what you love. It will not lead you astray." And so we allow ourselves to be drawn. And not only do we allow ourselves to be drawn by this love, what begins to happen is the love that we then claim for ourselves and begin to experience, we want for every other person on this planet. We want for people to come alive into the love, to embrace their life fully, to live out the life that they would like to live. And so we allow this to happen, and every time we see it, we call it forth. Look how alive that person is. Last night I learned of the passing yesterday of one of our members. A beautiful lady named Beth Holt passed away. Her husband, Bob, worked on our foundation, our Mile High Foundation, for many years. And she was ill, and she passed away suddenly. And when I texted Jennifer Burnett to say, I'm going to acknowledge Beth's passing tomorrow, Jennifer texted back exactly my first words about Beth. She was so full of life. She loved life and lived life to the max. High energy, beautiful woman who just lived and laughed and enjoyed life to its fullest. And I thought, what a brilliant embodiment of the invitation upon us today. Living life this week, going forth, what will it take for me to live it out fully in love is what I'm inviting us to ask ourselves. To take opportunities throughout our life this week and see where we're tempted to step back and not be loving in our thoughts and our words towards ourselves or anyone else, and ask ourselves, what might it be if I chose to lean forward into love? And every night before we go to bed this week, asking ourselves, is there anyone I've put out of my heart today? And if so, can I just send love? Even if I disagree with them, can I just send love? These things, these actions, simple but profound, lead us forward into love and embracing the fullness of life. As we close this series today, I invite us into prayer. And the prayer I'd like to share is a poem. I'd like to read this and kind of have a contemplative poem. It's a poem that the great Maya Angelou wrote in 2016 to her friend Oprah Winfrey. And so I invite you to allow these words to be our prayer this morning. Into a world which needed you, my wish for you is that you continue. Continue to be who you are, and how you are to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness. Continue to allow humor to lighten the burden of your tender heart. Continue, in a society dark with cruelty, to let the people hear the grandeur of God in the peals of your laughter. Continue to let your eloquence elevate the people to heights they had only imagined. Continue to remind the people that each is as good as the other and that no one is beneath nor above you. Continue to remember your own young years and look with favor upon the lost and the least and the lonely. Continue to put the mantle of your protection around the bodies of the young and defenseless. Continue to take the hand of the despised and diseased and walk proudly with them in the high street. Some might see you and be encouraged to do likewise. Continue to plant a public kiss of concern on the cheek of the sick and the aged and the infirm, and count that as a natural action to be expected. Continue to let gratitude be the pillow upon which you kneel to say your nightly prayer, and let faith be the bridge you build to overcome evil and welcome good. Continue to ignore no vision which comes to enlarge your range and increase your spirit. Continue to dare to love deeply and risk everything for the good thing. Continue to float happily in the sea of infinite substance which set aside riches for you before you had a name. Continue, and by doing so, you and your work will be able to continue eternally. And so it is. Amen.
I wish you bluebirds in the spring to give your heart a song to sing, and then a kiss. But more than this, I wish you love. And in July, a lemonade to cool you in some leafy glade. I wish you health, far more than wealth. I wish you love. My breaking heart, and I agree that you and I could never be. But with my best, my very best, I set you free. I wish you shelter from the storm, a cozy fire to keep you warm. But most of all, when snowflakes fall, I wish you love. But most of all, when snowflakes fall, I wish you love.
Very beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. As we head into this time of sharing our love through tithes and offerings, I want to invite you to consider joining us by filling out our card of intent. In our final week of our wonderful series, we make available to those who feel called to align with the church and share their intention for giving, not only to the church, but their intention for their generous experience in life, to fill the card out. You can get some at the guest counters in the lobby if you're here in our sanctuary today. today, and you can go online and fill that card out anytime you like. Our fiscal year begins July 1, and so we're gathering those up to support us in our process of planning for our next year. So we thank those of you who've already turned in your card and those who will. And each week in this series, we've had a wonderful person from a various department of our community come forth to conduct the love offering, and I'm excited today to introduce you to our youth director, Stacy Butters. Please welcome her.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Michelle. Hi, everyone. I am so grateful that I get this chance to be here with you and say thank you for your generous love and support that allow me and the rest of the youth staff and our incredible volunteer team to come together to create a fantastic youth program serving infants through teens here at Mile High Church. Some of you were lucky enough to grow up with this philosophy, but what I hear most often is, I wish I had had this when I was a kid. And because you give, we are able to do that. We are able to create some incredible opportunities for kids. And I just want to give you just a few examples of that. So imagine yourself when you were young, knowing about self-knowledge and being able to say, I am strong, I am kind, I am creative, and having the confidence to share your gifts and your light with the world. Picture yourself as a child knowing about inclusivity and diversity and oneness and all the great ways that we could really be and communicate with each other. Imagine yourself as a child or a teen knowing about power, personal power, spiritual power, the power of thought. That is what your contributions are doing. Your contributions also helped us enormously this past year. We were able to still do 2 of our great family events with Trunk or Treat last fall and our Egg Safari this spring. And beyond that, it allowed us to create a lot of virtual resources. Everything from a new newsletter, Zoom groups for our teens, online lessons on YouTube, youth lessons on YouTube. We have affirmations for kids on Instagram, spiritual coloring sheets on the website, so many different things. But what I love about that is what we learned and how we're going to be able to take that into our next year. Really up-level our outreach and what we're able to do virtually, but also bring that energy into what we are doing here on campus. I also want to add a personal thank you because I'm clearly passionate. I love bringing these teachings to kids of all ages, but I am also a parent. My husband and I found Mile High Church 20 years ago because we wanted a positive spiritual home for our family. And today, as the parent of a couple of young adults, I hear them speak gratitude, and I see their ability to vision and manifest. And I see the tools that they have when things don't go as planned. And I think we'd all agree after this last year, it is a good thing to have some tools when things do not go as planned. So again, this is what your giving does. When you give into the Mile High Church and to our youth, you are giving kids of all ages spiritual tools and ideas that they're going to take into their lives and into our communities and into our world. And from my heart to yours, thank you. Thank you so much for your continued financial support of our youth and Mile High Church. And now we get to move into our offering, that space of love, that incredible, abundant universe and abundant nature. We have so many great ways that you can give. You can text give. You can give via the church website. You can send a contribution by mail. And if you happen to be here today, we have containers out in the lobby. So I invite you to join with me as we say together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
This song was written by Tom Lynch and Robin Hackett for this series that we're just concluding today, The Abundant Universe. Look around you, what do you see? Is life as beautiful as you thought that it would be? As you thought that it would be? Look inside you, what do you feel? Is love just flowing out to everyone you see? To everyone you see. If life is not going according to plan, if something you're missing you don't understand, if all that you're wanting slips right through your hands, try to remember there's more than enough. There's more than enough. Don't give in to giving up. There's more than enough. There's more than enough. Don't give in to giving up. There's more than enough. What's your vision? Do you believe that you are calling in everything you see? Everything you see. If life is not going according to plan, if something is missing you don't understand, if all that you're wanting slips right through your hands, try to remember there's more than enough. There's more than enough. Don't give in to giving up. There's more than enough. There's more than enough. Don't give in to giving up. There's more than enough. It's reaching out, it's letting go, it's gratitude, it's in the flow. Mother Nature plays this song, it's up to us to sing along. There's more than enough. There's more than enough. There's more than enough. Don't give in to giving up. There's more than enough. There's more than enough. Don't give in to giving up. There's more than enough. Don't give in to giving up. There's more than enough.
Big thank you for Jennifer and the band. Carlos, thank you for being here. Dr. Michelle, thank you for your wonderful message and series. Awesome, awesome. Hey, and if you are new here, if you would like to learn more about this community, you have some questions, then we have an opportunity for you. Today at 11:15, so like in 10 minutes, Reverend Jackie is going to be hosting an online brief presentation to answer those questions. So go to our website, look under events, you can get that information. And Board of Trustees, if you're on the website, you're interested in that, that calls to you. You can get that information there. And this Wednesday, 7 o'clock, Dr. Roger Teal will be here completing his 2-part series on Beyond the Veil. So be here for that. If you will stand for the benediction, let us go forward with our hearts filled with joy and a great enthusiasm, knowing that our only to-do today and every day is to be the love of God. And so it is.